There is an amazing humanitarian effort going on right now in a little village called Mungano in Kenya, and I thought you might be interested in hearing about it.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, hey everybody, this is Bill with Live Simple, Live Free, and this is something that I've never really mentioned on my channel before, but Thrive Life has a humanitarian organization that they call Thriving Nations. Thriving Nations has been working in Mungano in Kenya for about the last 7 years, and it's really amazing what they are accomplishing there. They are working with an organization called Choice Humanitarian. Choice Humanitarian is a non-sectarian humanitarian organization, and anyone who works with them, one of their rules is that you cannot be sectarian. You cannot have any kind of religious agenda or anything like that. It's just simply a humanitarian effort. And Choice Humanitarian facilitates it all, puts it all together. Thrive's been working with them for at least the past 7 years in Mungano. And they make annual trips over there and that sort of thing. Now, Thrive donates 5% of their revenue every month into Thriving Nations to help facilitate all of this. And so also you can, if you are interested, you can donate to Thriving Nations, and I'll tell you how to do that at the end. But a couple of weeks ago, we had the Thrive Convention in Utah that I attended, and here is a report that two of the executives did about their recent trip to Mungano. They went, I think, just in July, a couple months ago. And they continue to make progress. It's truly amazing what they're doing for this village. So, unfortunately, something happened to the end of the recording. I have quite a bit of it, but then it cuts off before it finishes. I'm sorry about that, but I think you'll get the gist of what's going on here. So here you go, Thriving Nations in Mungano, Kenya.
All right, before though, I want to tell you about a trip that Jason Budge, Jason Norton, and I had not too long ago. We got to go to Kenya, and we're going to tell you all about that. In fact, I'm going to have Jason Norton and Jason Budge come up on stage, tell you a little bit about Thriving Nations, specifically our trip to Kenya. Jason and Jason, come on.
All right, well, as most of you know, we have an incredible foundation called the Thriving Nations. And we take 5% of our profit and put it towards charity, towards giving back to people that sometimes can't help themselves. And our focus has really been on three things: water, nutrition, and education. And I think many of you may know, but as of late, we've really been focusing a lot of our efforts in Kenya. We went out there about a little over 7 years ago, and we built a dam. And as you can see in this picture, this dam is now providing water for 3,000 people per day. Pretty awesome. We've also done some projects to help farming and help them to get better nutrition. Is typically what they just eat is 2 meals a day, which is ugali, and it's like a porridge type of a meal. So to help them, be able to have more of a nutritious diet. Well,
can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So on the dam, just when we were there recently, we went out and paid a visit to the dam, and it had been several years since we've been out there, and we had probably 300 people sitting around the dam for hours waiting for us to greet us and just to express how much they appreciate what we've done. And it was so fun to watch them, hundreds of people around the dam scooping up water that they used to have to walk about 10 miles each way to get water. They literally walk 100 yards, a couple hundred yards now to get that water. So it was really fun to see how this has impacted them.
Yeah. Well, about 7 years ago, we took a group of consultants and we went out, Steve, Jason, and I, with this group and did a few different projects, and we were looking for our next project. And as we went around, we visited lots of different opportunities in several schools, but we came across one school that we fell in love with. These kids and these administrators and teachers were so humble. And we walked up to it, as you can see in this picture here, they made their own school out of sticks and mud. That's all they had. And several of their classes actually even met under trees, as you can see right here. You can see Sherry right there sitting next to one of the trees, and this is where they'd meet all day. And they didn't have most of them didn't have desks. They'd sit on the ground and either have just on the dirt ground or on rocks. And we fell in love with these people. As you can see, a little classroom here. This is one of the classrooms, one of the older classes, and this is what it looked like. They sat just like this in front of their teacher and did their best to learn under the circumstances they were in. But we absolutely fell in love with these people.
Yeah, so I think we all left, and many of those who were here, we walked away, drove away from that village, and there was something different about this village. We all felt it. We all drove away and felt there was a call to come back. They needed us specifically, and so we said, all right, this is our mission. We're going to come back and do something for Mungano. Well, fortunately, and we've learned this later, there was a man who has really had this vision for Mungano that we didn't realize at the time. This is Daniel that you'll see on the slide. Actually, that was Jason and Jason. Now it's Daniel. This is Daniel and his sweet wife, and they live right next to the school. And Daniel he's got a really fascinating story. When he was a kid, he would walk all day long to school almost. He would spend 5 hours walking to school, go to school for the day. He would walk back home 5 hours. Imagine getting up at 3 a.m. and starting your trek to school, getting there by 8, studying until 3 p.m., leaving to come back home, and arriving back home at 8 p.m. That was his life. And Daniel said many times, he said, I'm going to change this. I'm going to one day have a school where my people, my community can meet and not have to travel for 10 hours of their day like I've had to do, and have a better lifestyle. So he had this vision, and even part of his vision is developed. It's, I want to create a real center for learning. I want to build a university and a high school on my property. Well, when we met Daniel, we realized very quickly that this man is visionary. And because of his vision, because of his belief and his faith, something good was going to happen, and we needed to provide some of those resources that he didn't have access to. You can see in this next picture kind of Daniel's parcel of land. Daniel donated this land. It's 12 acres of land. You can see where his home is, just off the land a little bit. And you can see where the first school building was, down there on the bottom part of this diagram. And I mean, you look at the land, it looks pretty barren. It is. There's not a lot growing here. But he had this vision, and so they built this first school. They came together and created these 4 mud hut classrooms. 2 of them, by the time we got there, had no roofs. So when it rained, the kids had to scurry into the middle, piling all the kids into the 2 middle classrooms. And you can imagine how hard that is to facilitate a proper learning environment and help these kids get the education they need to get out of poverty with that type of circumstance. So we were really excited to connect with Daniel and start to take this to the next level.
Yeah. And we knew we couldn't do it. Our expertise is growing a business, freeze drying, right? And but we had this desire to really make a difference. And so we teamed up with an organization called Choice Humanitarian. And they actually have a group on the ground that's amazing. They're just the greatest people. And we knew that in order for us to be able to accomplish what we wanted to help accomplish and create those opportunities, that we would need their help to work with the community. So they've gone in, worked with their leaders, worked together with us. We've provided the resources. And a really important point is that we don't do anything for them. We provide the opportunities, and then they build it themselves. They're out there digging the holes, building the schools, doing the things that are needed to be done, and we're providing opportunities.
It's really critical that they have the sense of ownership. If we do it all for them, they wait for us to come fix things.
Yeah.
If we empower them to build it, they maintain it, they feel ownership, and they actually grow it. So that model is really, really important for sustainability with what we do.
And you'll see in Africa, a lot of times there'll be signs on the wall. This was built by so-and-so or so-and-so. And ours it's Mungano's school. It's their school. They see it as their own, and that's really important to us. In addition to the school, there's been several things we've been able to help with. We wanted to provide school lunch because most of them just ate breakfast and dinner and had no lunch. So we built a school garden, a stove with a kitchen. We also, so that they could have school lunches, we also planted hundreds of trees. We paid for an additional teacher's salary. They were short on teachers. There was usually, 3 or 4 classrooms without a teacher. They were just kind of rotating around. And then we also donated, thanks to all the consultants in past convention, just, a couple dozen huge boxes of school supplies that we were able to deliver. It was so fun to see them. I love that. And we also provided a scholarship for one of the students. Before we started working with them, most students didn't go on to secondary school. There was very few that did. And now more and more are starting to. But one didn't have the financial means to do that, and his name here is Hussein. And we want to show you a video. This was him talking to us when we were there just here a couple of months ago, talking to the Thrive Life people. Here's what he had to say.
Ningependa kuchukua nafasi hii kwa shukuru
thank Thrive Life,
hasa Thrive Life,
the Mumo CBO,
shirika letu la kijamii la Mumo,
in conjunction with Choice
kwa kushirikiana na shirika la Choice Humanitarian
Kenya to have made me one of the secondary school students.
Kwa kuhakikisha kwamba mimi ni mmoja wapo wa wanafunzi wa chuo upili Katinango.
Surely, I had given up all the hopes of going to secondary school.
Mimi nilikuwa nimekata tamaa kwamba sitawahi kwenda shule ya upili.
When I got the news that Thrive Life had paid for me 40,000,
nilipopata ripoti kwamba shirika la Thrive Life limenilipia shilingi 40,000,
I thought it was a dream.
basi nilifikiria pengine ni ndoto tu.
But now look, I am in Form 3 just like any other pupil.
Lakini angalia sasa niko tatu kama wanafunzi wengine wanaosoma.
I'm now seeing the future somewhere just beyond few years.
Mimi naona baada ya miaka 4 nitakuwa mtu tofauti na vile nilipo sasa.
I'm seeing Thrive Life as an angel sent by God to save me from the chains of poverty.
Mimi naona kama shirika hili Thrive Life ni malaika tu na Mungu kutoka katika hii mnyororo wa umaskini.
May God bless Thrive Life, Choice, Mumo, CBO, and all the stakeholders.
Mimi naomba Mungu abariki Thrive Life, shirika la Choice na wengi ambao wameshiriki.
To assist me achieving my dreams.
Kwa kuweza kunisaidia kufikia ndoto yangu.
Thank you.
Asanteni sana.
And this is just one individual. You can see the impact it's having on so many individuals that we just have grown to love over the last 7-8 years. So a small group of us went back to this area of Mungano. It's very close to Mombasa, and visited again. We were the first expedition with Choice Humanitarian to go back because of the COVID vaccination. We got out there, or because of the COVID pandemic. And when we got out there, it was incredible. The way they greeted us, they were so excited again to see us. And this time, what we wanted to focus on was a couple things. The school has grown, and because it's doing so well, it used to be on the bottom end of about 30 schools. I think they were ranked 28th for quite a period of time in that region. And they've made it all the way up to 4th in academic performance over the last few years. And so many more are coming longer distances and making sure their kids leave the farm and go to school, and they've grown about 25%, and about 100 kids didn't have desks. So we built enough desks for another 100 students. And then we also built a fence together with them that covered the 12 acres to protect a couple of things. First off is that farm we were developing, that garden for school lunches, was being eaten by the animals in the area. And so it wasn't working. And so it's to block those off. Also, we needed to protect our next project that we've been working towards, which is building a new library and computer lab. Now, they're at a point now where they've developed academically where a lot of the classes that they can do to help these kids go to the next level are online. And they don't have the abilities to do that yet. They don't have the resources to do that. And so that's our next goal, is to build that and to help together with them provide those resources to be able to have that at their primary school.
I don't know if we can show the pictures of those last couple slides up here just for the audience here, just to see the actual fence that was going up here. So here's some pictures of the school desk that we built. This is a school, by the way, that we built that was not there when we got there the first time. Now we have the desk to keep the kids in a comfortable place to learn. It was fun. At the very end, they had us go plant some more trees to create this really kind of almost grove of trees around their community. It's really, really cool. We hired kind of a male model to do this picture. This is the beginning of the fence. Those posts are about 200 or 300 pounds each, and we were out lifting those off the big truck and setting the post. And when we got back, they sent us a picture. The whole fence is all the way complete, which is so cool now because Jason talked about they get 2 meals a day, breakfast and dinner. Well, breakfast is maize. It's crushed up corn. Dinner is maize. It's crushed up corn. If they get both meals, that's what they get. We can now grow vegetables. We can grow fruits. We can create a whole variety of things to increase their nutrition and help them actually function better, have the energy they need to thrive, right? So we got there. We actually met with our choice team when we arrived, and we said, well, I mean, Mungano's making great strides. We should be looking at what's the next village we can go to. And is there anything else to do in Mungano? And that was part of our mission to say, what's next for Thrive in this area? I can tell you when we left Mungano, we realized, one, there is so much more to do in Mungano. There is, but to really get this village, this community thriving, we need to invest more into Mungano. And the thing that we got really excited about is Daniel's vision. I mean, the power of a vision. Daniel had this vision to create something that was just in this barren wasteland. A school, a community center, water cisterns, eventually a high school, eventually a university. And now we can start to see this taking place. Now we have these beautiful trees growing, multiple buildings, great water sources, and we just need to keep fueling this fire a little bit more to just turn this thing on and have it really have impact in the community. So we got excited about helping pursue Daniel's vision for the future of this community. And what we'd like to do is continue to invest in Mungano and really make this this kind of beacon of light for the whole rest of the surrounding area, where they can look at Mungano and say, wow, how do you guys have so much more resource than we have right here? Well, what we'll do is we'll actually have the community leaders go and meet with those other communities and say, hey, here's what we did. We set a vision. It was a 1, 3, and 5 year vision for our community. We partnered with Thrive, who works with Choice. We got other local government leaders involved, and we all worked together to create something beautiful here. But it required a lot of work, and it required a lot of vision and execution. That's what they didn't have before. Daniel had it, but there was nothing happening with it. One thing that's really neat, I don't know if we've got the next slide that we can go to and show a picture of this, but we actually got together with some of the community leaders. And here's Daniel. Once again, here's his land. You can see right behind there, Daniel was actually, this guy's, you just want to take him home on your luggage. He's just such an amazing man. He pulled us aside and said, friends, I want to give you land. He wants to give us land. And so we can build a little place where we can come and stay when we're at his property. He's just so giving. So we're going to build like a 3-star hotel there. But we met with the community leaders. This is Headmaster Mwachiti. This is the guy that's actually over the school. And he's awesome. He is so invested in this vision. You have to have someone who can see the vision and run with it. Headmaster Mwachiti did it. And what was cool from the last time we went there is we showed up and he got the community leaders together. He got us together. We brought in government leaders, and he said, you can see it on the board, here is our vision for the future. This is it. He went and outlined it. He outlined it year by year and talked about what needs to happen for them to really achieve this dream that Daniel had. And we were just in the room, just thrilled, like, oh my gosh, this is happening. They're seeing the vision and they're running with it. And so we want to support this vision. We want to really help grow this thing where others can look at it and it's almost this like pattern, this blueprint of how you can really thrive in Kenya and escape the chains, as this great student said, of poverty. And so there are three kind of main pillars that we're going to focus on. If we can put those up. One of those is to continue to expand the actual facilities. They need more facilities. They need more resources.
So I'm so sorry that the rest of the video was corrupted, it was lost, but I think you can see some of the great things that they're doing there. Some of the things that they've accomplished since they started. They built a dam so that they now have water available instead of walking 10 miles each way to get water. They built a school. They didn't have a school there. They built a school. And now they are talking about building a computer lab for the school. And I was there with a friend of mine when she found out about the computer lab, and she was blown away because she was on one of the original trips to Mungano when they didn't have anything, and she just couldn't even wrap her head around that they're now going to have a computer lab because they didn't even have a school when she went. They have facilitated putting together a garden that's 12 acres. It's got a fence all the way around it to keep the animals out, and they're able to finance sending some of the kids on to secondary school, to higher education. And it's just absolutely amazing. And as you can see, just as the video cut off, they have big plans for the future for building even a university there that will draw people from the area as well. And so I had heard a little bit about Thriving Nations before, but when I saw this report, I had no idea of the extent of what Thriving Nations is doing in Mungano. So I think you can see that there are really some amazing things going on in Mungano that's happening because of Thriving Nations working with Choice Humanitarian. And like I said at the beginning, Thrive Life donates 5% of their revenue every month to that, or 5% of their profit every month to that. So every time you place an order, you know that some of your profit that they make is going to Choice Humanitarian and to Thriving Nations working in Mungano. Also, you can donate to Thriving Nations effort if you would like. If you are a delivery customer, just click on the top right of the delivery page where it says settings, and then down there you'll see a place where you can either say no donation, or you can designate a specific amount, or you can just say round up to the nearest dollar, so that every time you place an order it gets rounded up to the nearest dollar, and those few pennies over a whole bunch of customers add up to a lot. Also, if you are placing a one-time order through your shopping cart, you will have the option to donate to Thriving Nations in the final checkout page. So that's completely up to you. I am just very impressed with what Thriving Nations is doing, and I thought that you might be interested as well. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Live simple, live free. Be blessed.